How you doing, everyone? Welcome to the Friday check-in from just me from the Pick Podcast. As you notice, we're indoors. We're not outside on a sunny beach or sat next to a swimming pool. It's fairly late in the day here, about 8 or 9 o'clock. And we're just recording now. We're going to upload the video and then so you guys will get it fresh. I'm fucked, man. I'm fucking tired. I had a long week. I had a tough week, but I wanted just to, try and do a bit of recovery stuff. So yeah, I'm just trying to check it, just trying to go through my week in my head. I've written some notes down, so if I keep referring to it, if I'm looking down, then I'm referring to my notes. Resentments. So yes, I've had a little resentment with someone for a while now, and I did put them on my step 4, kind of went through it with my sponsor. I rang my sponsor actually and said, I've got no part in this whatsoever. And he does what he does, and he laughed at me. And then he said, read the resentments. So I went through the resentments. I think off the top of my head, one of them was, he takes the piss out of me. He thinks he's funny and he takes the piss out of me. And then, he just tries too hard. Really tries too hard to be liked and just ends up saying stupid shit, which I found quite annoying. A little bit over familiar, always kind of tapping me on the shoulder, how you doing, mate, that sort of thing. So as I went through the list with my sponsor just said, that's you. You do that. You do that. And I realised what I was seeing, and this isn't new stuff, this is stuff I know, but we learn quite a lot in recovery, and I do some other stuff, and I'm just busy, with work and life, that I can forget a lot of stuff, So so what I was seeing myself in him, me in early recovery, and so what did I do about that resentment? I arranged to go for food with him, and what did I notice? So what I noticed is when I went for food, he might already know who he is actually by now. I didn't want to name him, but anyway, his there's a happy ending. So I went for food with him, and what I realised was that once kind of he had, once we kind of just relaxed and we were spending time together. He was quite cool. He wasn't doing all that stuff that I'd built the resentment on. And in a way, I suppose I just kind of just poured love on him, is what we would say. And it felt really good actually, because he's a fairly decent guy. So kind of that's how I've dealt with the resentment. So there's a little bit on recovery. I want to talk about some other stuff on recovery, but before I do that. There's some other parts to my week that I want to talk about, because as everyone, or most people that are on my program, I see the feedback and the analytics from YouTube. I know there's a lot of people that watch from kind of my local area. You'll know that Chris, my best friend Chris, has passed away. We don't know the reasons for that yet, but that stuff doesn't really matter. The fact is he's gone. And how have I dealt with that this week? The first couple of days I was just in a bit of a haze really, just a bit vacant, kind of not really there. I didn't realise this, and I was on my way home from work. I was on the motorbike, and I realised that I was coming close to kind of, either getting hit by a car or hitting someone else. And I was like, okay, you just need to wake up a bit here, Dan, because I just wasn't there, I was on this like autopilot mode. And, and the first couple of days, man, it hit me, I want to say it hit me hard. It didn't feel like it hit me hard, but there were moments when I would just cry, and we're not, moments when I would just cry, and then I would just kind of stiffen myself up. And Chris would say, chest out, chin up. you know, and I suppose I kind of just did that, and God, this is hard, man. You know, it's not hard to talk about Chris, but it's hard to be fucking honest. You know, and it's hard to like it probably seems like my recovery is quite difficult, and it really isn't. Do you know what I mean? It really isn't. You know, but it's hard to just come on camera. I know there's quite a few people that watch. It's hard to just do that and show people kind of my vulnerability. Yeah. And then, you know, kind of just back to how I was dealing with it, as I've gone through my week, I've noticed that the times it's been easy is when I've been busy at work. You know, I've been phoning his ex-partner and just asking how she's getting on. When I've been helping other people, you know, it's not really had hold of me. And then when I've been on my own, you know, I've got kicked about a little bit. But, you know, I've made plans to go home and say my goodbyes, do the funeral. And I'm really lucky, you know, you know, I want to touch on this quickly, you know. You know, in my using days, man, I had fucking nobody. I had my mum. You know, and I'm sure even I was doing her heading. Because fucking I was doing my own heading, you know. But, you know, I literally didn't have fucking anybody, you know. People didn't want to spend time with me. And naturally, you know, I was pretty annoying in my using. And that's putting it, you know, addicts were pretty annoying anyway, but yeah, you know, and now, you know, I've got people around me, people that support me, you know, people that ring me up and ask me how I'm doing, and you know, there are tons of messages, people, you know, just checking in on me. Chris's family, you know, his sister, his brother, you know, they've been ringing me and checking in on me. And it's like, you know, I can feel a bit like, don't worry about me, because fucking hell, like, you've lost your brother. You know, but what I'm really grateful for is the support that I've had around me, and you know, all these, you know, loads of friends, you know, loads of friends. They're my biggest gift in recovery. You know, I've gone from a guy that no one really wanted to spend time with, because all I did was take. I just took and I just took and I just took. You know, and I'm not doing that now. You know, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm giving stuff back. And I'm kind of holding myself right, and I'm coming correct. And as a result of that, you know, people allow me into their lives, which is really nice, you know. So yeah, that's kind of my week on an emotional level. You know, I did some other stuff. So I've started this. I started this thing called somatic therapy, which is, you know, I'm like a 12-stepper through and through. I'm a 12-stepper. And that's kind of where I've got my recovery. You know, it's how I got clean. I went to a treatment centre. They, you know, encouraged us they role modelled the 12-step program. So that's what I did. And I suppose what I've noticed, you know, is there's some limitations. You know, and I'm not knocking it at all. I'm absolutely not knocking it. I love 12-step recovery. It's you know, it's given me everything I've got up until this point. But you know, there's still lots of, and I don't, you know, I've shied away from this like word trauma, that, you know, because I don't want to be traumatized. You know, I'm a big guy, my ego is fairly big, and I don't want to say, oh, I've got trauma, you know. So I started this somatic therapy, and what they do is they concentrate on the body, you know, everything kind of from the neck down, you know, and how trauma is stored in the body. You know, so I kind of went into it with like not necessarily not believing in it, but not necessarily believing in it. But you know, just to kind of see how it went. And yeah, do you know what? It's been amazing. Like, so it works on talking about the nervous system, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it like I've fucking done it for years, but I've done like 2 sessions, and. So, you know, but what I've noticed is, you know, there's loads of little techniques, loads of little tools you can pick up and use, and it just regulates your nervous system, you know. So did you ever walk into a room and you just feel something you don't feel quite right? You don't know what it is, but you just feel a little bit on edge, you know. It kind of starts down here in the gut, and it's like, I feel a bit fucking anxious. I don't know what it is. You know, that's the nervous system kind of dysregulated. So it talks about how to regulate that. You know, and where does that dysregulation come from? I really want to go into what happened in the session, but I kind of don't really. Like it's inner child stuff. You know, recalling memories that I didn't even realise I had. And they're not like photographic memories, you know, of course my head puts a photograph to them, but they're memories, they're feelings. So I'm recalling feelings from, you know, from way back, like 3 years old. You know, and of course I'm being led by a professional in this, so, you know, I'm kind of explaining what I'm feeling and where that's coming from and what comes into my head in terms of the thinking. And yeah, like, you know, when you just know something, you just believe it. You know, so that's kind of where I'm at with the somatic therapy. It's fucking really good. So it's somatic therapy. If you kind of feel like you've gone as far as you can go, and you want to try some alternate stuff, you know, and it says that in the literature, you know, religion, psychiatry, and, you know, something else was not sufficient, you know. It didn't say it didn't work, it just said that on its own was not sufficient. You know, so, you know, so this stuff complements my 12-step recovery. Yeah, so that's that. What else did I put down? Of course, what's coming up on the pick. So, yeah, you know, I'm kind of just, I've got a couple of good shows planned over here. We're going to record. So remember a couple of weeks ago, you might have seen, I did a little video. I just interviewed a lady. I'm happy to give her name now because we are recording on Sunday. So her name is Frankie. And, you know, she watched Chris's podcast. And then she said to me, I've got a similar story, Dan. And I was like, all right, okay, cool, you know. And then I sat with her and did an interview the other week just to kind of, so we can pull the questions from the interview. And yeah, man, fucking hell. Yeah, like, you know, her story is like Chris's, you know, it just stops you in your tracks. And, you know, she's come through the other side. She's got long-term recovery. She's about, yeah, I'm not going to say how many years she's in, but she's got some years. And now she's, you know, she's seen that someone else do a podcast. So this is kind of Chris's legacy, you know, someone else has seen his podcast. This woman's from Australia. She's from the other side of the world. She's seen his podcast and gone, okay, I want to tell my story. You know, and she's not like a willing person. She's not like someone who willingly is like, yeah, I want to do a podcast. I want to, you know, I want to tell my story. This is someone that's thought about it. You know, the experience is very traumatic for her, as it was for him when he did his. You know, but yet there's an undercurrent, a desire to do it, and in the hope that maybe it'll help someone else. So we're recording hers on Sunday, and then that will be out the following week, hopefully. And then had an interesting conversation yesterday with a guy called Ian Thomas. So Ian has done a TEDx talk. I've not known him, but I've known, you know, if you're in Birmingham, you'll know who Ian Thomas is. You know, really, I've heard him share a couple of times, and you know, I know someone, I think he might have known him, you know, so, you know, just good stuff about him, you know. And the minute I spoke to this guy, man, we just connected. You know, there's so, like, you know, I have many conversations with many people, and but this, you know, I don't know, you might have had these, you know. If you're in recovery, you probably have had them, you know, and maybe even if you're not in recovery and you're watching, you may have had them. Sometimes you just connect with people. It's almost like, you know, like the same, you're on the same frequency, you know, like, and it's not, course, we use language to communicate, but it's not like there's something more going on than language. Like it's a visceral thing, you know. And to connect with someone over the phone like that, you know, I've not experienced that before. But yeah, we just talked about everything from this to that, you know. And yeah, I'm really glad he's decided to come and do a podcast with us. He's back in the UK, so we're going to record that in September when I'm back. I've got a couple of other people lined up, but you know, we're just waiting for confirmation on them. So yeah, some really good podcasts coming up, you know, and I just want to thank everyone that supports the channel. You know, I don't know why I decided to do this. You know, I know I did a little promo video. There's a promo video on the YouTube channel, and kind of said I want to give people a platform and give them, you know, kind of a space to kind of tell their story. And I don't know where it's going to go. You know, I know I put a lot of energy into it, and it fucking takes me out and it wipes me out. You know, constantly recording shows and constantly finding people that have, you know, because some people we record and we don't release, some people we interview and it doesn't seem kind of like it's going to work with where we're at, and then some people it's like get it recorded and get it out, you know. And there's a couple of people behind the scenes that do the editing, and then there's just me with a camera, a microphone, and you know, loads of like people personally supporting me that just hold me because I'm losing my shit on set and just fucking stressing out because the lighting's not right. There's too much noise in the background. Yeah, so you know, I find it hard to work with me. So I can imagine other people do. Oh, one more thing, Jay Stock. So Jay, you'll see the clips. We've been running the clips through the week. Jay's podcast it'll be on the website now. I'm going to put the link in the. No, if you're watching this, you'll be on the website. So I'm thinking of the promo video. I'll do the promo video for this in a second, and then we'll put the link in the comments box. But Jay's is on the YouTube channel now. So yeah, jump onto Jay's. You know, it's me and Jay have a bit of chemistry. So we get on really well, and we take the piss out of each other. We don't take each other too seriously most of the time. Sometimes it does get a bit serious. And but yeah, we've just got a really good chemistry, and you know, he's definitely someone I'll keep in my corner, and someone I'll kind of go to, you know. But yeah, that's about it really. So you know, if you've tuned in and watched, thank you for supporting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment in the box below. And yeah, I'll see you next week.